the missing. Where are you? Are you afraid? Are you lost? Are you searching for me, my child? He says, I am here. So, God, His love is greater than anything. No sin, no pride, no past scars. Nothing can stop the love of God from saving, talking back. He'll take you back no matter what. He's going to take you back every single time and never will fail. If you have a problem with going to church and serving God and you keep backsliding, well, that means there's a problem. But if you keep doing that, the same thing over and over again, the cycle will eventually come to the end and you'll wind up living in a pig pen because you've got so far out that now you're missing. Now you're the 100 sheep that's lost. Or maybe you're the 30th. Maybe you're the 50th. But you're lost. But no matter what, He will always come and find you. Eating pig food instead of living in the riches of God. See, here in the church, we have riches of God. Like, for instance, when you feel the Holy Ghost, you feel that like your hairs stick up on your forearm. It's part of the riches of God. God, the whole time, His hymn is singing to you, but you haven't listened to His voice. Or maybe your struggles and your finances problems are out of whack because, why is that? It's always because your relationship with God is out of whack. That's where it starts. Your relationship is out of whack. You ever seen people, married couples especially, have marriage problems? Why? Because their relationship is out of whack. It's uneven. One is being good, the other is not. Or they're both being bad. They're arguing. They don't have a good relationship. It's always one-sided. Fix your relationship with your God. If you bless God, He will bless you. It's a relationship that goes both ways. He'll always love you, but will you always love Him? One bad thing happens and you have now forsaken Him. But you do one tiny little bad thing and He never forsakes you. You even end up in the pig's pen and you sell all your riches, you throw it all away, your inheritance, everything that is good that came from your father's house, you give it all away, and He still loves you and He still takes you back. The son took his wealth and left his father's house, and he enjoyed the life, capital L, capital I, capital F, capital E. He enjoyed the life. And it brought him far away from his father's house. All the wrong he did, the father was still waiting for him. So no matter what problem he had, no matter how much sin he did, all the gunk that was all over him. You ever see anyone that they're living in sin? I mean, they're living in bad sin. They got alcohol problems, they got drug problems, cigarette problems, all evil kind of problems. They don't look so clean, do they? Still after that, even he looked like a nasty, filthy person. But God still had compassion on him. The Father still loved him, still brought him back home. He's going to remember everything. And He's coming someday. This is what the Father is saying. I just know my son, my daughter, they're going to remember everything me and their mother taught them. They're going to remember someday. They have to. Then one day He sees them coming from a far, far ways away, and He runs to His son and embraces him with love and compassion. The hymn for the missing. And in closing, very short tonight. We tried to walk together, but the night was growing dark. Thought you were beside me, but I reached and you were gone. Where you were gone, sometimes I hear you calling from some lost and distant shore. I hear you crying softly for the way it was before. Where are you now? Are you lost? Will I find you again? Are you alone? Are you afraid? Are you searching for me? Why did you go? I had to stay. Now I'm reaching for you. Will you wait? Will you wait? Will I see you again? He's calling out to you. Please come back, begging. Please come back. He's begging you to come back. Tonight I'll have all the youth and kids come to the front in a little bit. Our youth and our kids too, they need to learn how to pray and how to get a hold of God. They need to learn how to worship. Teaching them how to worship, teaching them how to pray, leading by example. This morning we talked about being an example. Even Arthur can be an example. Even Paul can be an example. I can only teach them so far though. Brother Mike can only teach kids and youth so far. But it's the parents that has to teach them the rest of the way. You teach them all the way. If you can't live for God right, how can your kids live for God right? I've seen kids and youth, especially youth, their parents aren't in church, and it's a struggle for them to live for God. A few of them that I'm thinking of, they're not here tonight. Why? Because the struggle is real. But we need to teach our kids. Parents, please, lead by example. I believe that sometimes when these kids are doing the right things, because there's a bunch of them doing the right things, you need to point it out and you need to high-five them. And so Elijah, stand up. A while back I noticed that Elijah, he's always the first one to get a hold of God. What I mean by that, he's always the first one to let his emotions go. And the Holy Ghost hits him. I started noticing that a couple weeks ago. I've actually come back about a month ago, actually. That every time, he's always the first one. Sometimes out of the whole entire church. Always the first one to reach out to God. Well, again, it's because the emotion hits him. And he lets the Holy Ghost hit him. But a couple weeks ago, I was coming up after Sunday morning service, I was coming up to pray for the youth. But God pricked something in my heart about him. So I went to him and I prayed for him. Remember that? He said, there's some boys, young boys. There's probably about 6 of them. Multiple times I watched them. Just this morning, at least 4 or 5 of them. The Holy Ghost was hitting them. They had tears going down their face. There's some young boys. I've seen Paul and Ezra. I've seen them. The Holy Ghost has hit them so hard. Because they're learning how to humble themselves. But my question is for the rest of the church. Are you going to let yourself be humbled enough that the Spirit of God moves on you every altar call like Elijah? Every altar call. That you come to the altar and be fully repentant. And you come not even really looking for something. You just come out of obedience. And because of your obedience, God moves upon you. So if you would come to an altar tonight, so if all the youth and kids would come up to the altar and just do your thing, just start praying and asking God to move on you. Lead by example, young people and kids. Lead the church into their worship. Now if the church would gather with them and pray. Come to an altar, find the love of God. If you lost it, come find it. He'll give it back to you if you're willing to.